Service Management Center of Futureship. Masood has worked as a part of one of the first entrants in the offshore recruitment process, outsourcing space and comprehensive knowledge about global recruitment engagement models and processes. Please put your hands together for Masood.
So do we have a good morning, good evening? What is it? I was just off to sleep a little bit, not exactly, but a little drowsy. Just want to check. Are you awake? Last session of the day, speakers tired, audience is bored. Is that the case? No? You're still wide awake? I haven't heard yes. I still can't hear. वहाँ से तो बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. Oh, thank you very much. If you can care to come a little ahead, it will help me. थोड़ा confidence boost आएगा. Sir, if you don't mind. This looks like much better now. I am not alone standing here. Good. Okay, so what I have you guys come here expecting in this session? Just give me a little feedback in terms of what is it you're expecting here? Oh, when they first gave me this topic, I also was wondering what is outreach and what is initial contact. I've never used these terms before. I've contacted candidates, I have a way of doing it, but first time we speak to a candidate on the phone, okay, that's a good one. What else? How do we reach out to potential applicants? That goes a little further, great. Okay, so we'll talk only about these two things today, or at least in this 1 hour. Just imagine 2 points. 1 hour, you'll have to bear me. Initial impression, I hope I've made a good one. Okay, fair, it's a good start. Let's go with it. Before we begin, I would like to start with a small video if the streaming is already completed. Do we have the Twitter video? The second link? Good.
Hey Dick, you got a second?
Yeah, come on in.
So remember when you asked us to spend a lot of money to make a video that's going to inspire people to work here?
No.
Well, we did, and it's a little over budget, but I think you're
I think you're going to like what you see.
Okay, Lady Gaga, I'll call you back.
man, this is a sweet job.
But working at Twitter isn't just a sweet job, it's a way of life. A way of life that's like a sweet job. Have I got your attention now? Walk with me and we'll learn more. Oh, hey Olivia from Recruiting. Do people ever ask you why it's so much fun to work at Twitter?
Boy, Ian, they sure do. At Twitter, you get to work on small teams working on projects that affect hundreds of millions of users. Just ask one of our engineers.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love working here because
Boy, I wish I didn't already work here so I could apply for a job. Do we have any open positions?
Does a tweet have 140 characters?
2, 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Here are some examples. Engineering manager. Engineers who know about mobile. Front-end engineers and back-end engineers. Java specialists. Hadoop reliability engineers. But it doesn't stop there. We're also hiring for non-engineering jobs, like sales, product management, and design, and so much more.
Man, those sure are a lot of great jobs. What do you think, CEO Dick Costello?
Thanks, Ian. In addition to jobs, we offer free gym memberships and catered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Not to mention yoga, chair massages, acupuncture, and beer. This really is a great place to work. As an employee, you have tons of benefits, like your own computer, a bottle of wine, and a t-shirt. And don't forget full health care and great dental coverage. All of this at an international company that's helping to change the world. So what are you waiting for? Come work at Twitter.
And join the flock today!
So,
It's great. I love it.
he loves it!
No. Anshu, which yes is this, no is this. So guys, what we're going to talk about today is essentially candidate outreach, initial contact, or candidate contact, initial outreach, the way you want to term it. We're basically going to talk about how is it that we engage with candidates, at least in the initial stage, till they start taking those interviews. Okay, so that's where we will stop. So before we reach there, what we're going to, I'm just going to give you a brief in terms of the 4 or 5 topics that max will reach today. We're going to talk about the candidate perspective, just to understand, and here we'll cover why are we discussing initial outreach, what is so good about it, what is so bad about it, what if we don't do it, is somebody going to hang us? So we'll discuss that. Then we're going to talk about something called collaborative communication, where we'll delve a little bit, and I hope this would have happened a little earlier. Evening time, it could get a little difficult, but I'm sure we'll all catch up to it. Then we're going to talk about what goes in choosing a communication channel. And then we're going to talk about how do you make the most of those communication channels. Finally, we being recruitment HR kind of folks, we like to measure. So we'll talk about some measurement metrics around how to go about measuring what we have done, whether it's good, bad, ugly. Oops. What did I just do? Yeah. Okay, we're back. So first we'll talk about a little bit of perspective. Everybody's read this, heard this somewhere. An idea can change your life. How many believe it? Okay, show of hands is good, so most of us do. A call can change your career. Now let's put this sentence in a little bit of perspective. When we are talking about, we as recruiters do approximately how many? 50, 100 calls a day, or send 100 odd messages a day. For a candidate is receiving probably a similar amount of emails or messages, a lot lesser. For a candidate, one career decision in terms of whether he should be picking up this job or not picking up this job is actually very critical. Max, in a candidate's lifespan, how many jobs will he change? Don't talk about hoppers. 5, 7. So these are 7 decisions that he's going to take in his entire life, which eventually is going to shape not just his career, but also the way he brings up his kids, the way he finances them, the amount of time he spends with them, whether he's happy with his life or not, and that gets translated to whether he's happy with his family life or not. So this call of yours could actually change somebody's life. So from a recruiter's perspective, This is one amongst those 100 calls, is one amongst those, let's say 15, 20 joiners or onboards we have every day. For a candidate, it is essentially one of those 5 to 7 decisions he's going to take in his life. Okay? So just put that in a little bit of perspective. We just spoke about in the morning, if you, I'm not sure how many were part of the different lectures or sessions we've had. A general tendency is, if from a candidate's perspective, if I submit a resume to any company or corporate, if I just push it across, then I pray. Somebody human is going to look at my resume and come back to me. So this Dilbert cartoon is just to illustrate that. Okay? So it says submit, post your resume on the jobs website. Now sit back and enjoy the misguided optimism that someday a human being will come and see it and come back to you. So candidate is thinking like that, while we are thinking, the candidate is not going to look at it anyways. He doesn't care. He's got so many offers, there are so many people calling him. Okay? Now, now these are some facts which we picked up, not from India, from Europe. There are around 47 candidates who said that they had no relationship with the company they're applying for. Rest of them have either been customers or know somebody in the company they're applying for prior in hand. Okay, so they already have, most of the candidates already have some kind of a perspective of the companies that they're going after. Now this another stats will tell you that 83% of the candidates, I still don't believe why it's not 100%, but 83% of the candidates talk about their job interview or the way they've been contacted by a recruiter with at least one friend or a family member. I've yet to come across a single friend of mine who has not spoken about somebody approaching to him for a job, a recruiter, most cases unpleasantly. Okay? Now, most of the job applicants are rating their candidate experience as roundabout average or poor. Okay? Only 11% of the companies, now what is the companies doing about it? Only 11% of the companies that were surveyed said that they actually capture candidate feedback. So that means we are not really caring. Okay? For whatever reason, we'll come to those later. Now, outrage quality is important. Why is it important? First is, how many of you all actually go and find candidates? Do sourcing? Think about the effort that it takes to find a candidate, especially if it's a difficult skill to find. All the effort you've done in finding that one candidate, but now, if the candidate goes bad just because you did not connect with him properly, all your effort is wasted. Okay? Good candidates will always have options. My notice period is also coming. They can shop for offers. So, if the entire experience of the candidate is not good enough, you would lose good candidates. What will be left will be people that you'll have to live with. It will hurt your employer brand. We talked about the whispering campaign. So people are going to talk about the way they were interviewed. They would not talk about how they were approached by the recruiter or sourcer. So it hurts your employer brand. Second is, especially for consultants like me, we are in a recurring business. So even if one candidate is not good enough for a particular role, it doesn't mean he will not be suitable for another. Even if one candidate goes ahead and talks to his peers, we're talking about in Puneet's session, referral person, they're trying to increase by 40%. Now, if candidates are not going to refer, we're just talking about employee referrals, but candidates also refer. So we are in a recurring business. They may be customers tomorrow, not for Capgemini's or the service companies, but product companies, yes. Let's say it's a Nike. They'll be customers tomorrow. Finally, they're human beings. So let's try and put some amount of respect. We'll talk about the human being factor a little later. Okay? Any confusion in this? No? I'm surprised because last time when I had raked up this topic, people were a little defensive, saying that, why is this required? I think some of them are sitting here. Why is this required? Like, we don't have the line. We'll talk about why we don't do this. We are in a business. Recruitment is not about making friends. It's about closures. It's about how quickly I hire, how well I am able to put the candidate in front of the panel and get them interviewed, selected. Whether it is hurting into a long, big drive, making them sit there for a complete day, still it is not about making friends. Once the candidate gets hired, I have no relationship with him. Now, how many of us actually keep relationship with the candidate even if they don't get hired? Most of the good recruiters would, especially if they're working in a niche industry. Because even the candidate is not suitable, as I said before, will be useful for them at a later stage, especially for making referrals. As a rule, in our team, we used to have a policy that every person, every sourcer should have at least 2 to 3 friends in every company he is hiring from. Get loads of referrals from them. Employer branding is not a sourcer's job. That somebody sitting in some corner of some company is trying to create an employer brand, how does it matter to me? My job is not to create a sourcer's brand. I'm a sourcer. My job is not to create an employer brand. I'm a sourcer. But without the sourcer actually working with the candidate and trying to give him a pleasant experience, the employer brand, no matter some geek doing something else in the social media space does it, will not be able to achieve employer branding. So, as sourcers, we are extremely important in the entire value chain of recruitment and sourcing and social media marketing to be able to create an employer brand. Takes too much time. That's my favorite one. I have to contact so many people. How can I reach out to everybody? How can I respond to every job advert that comes in? Right? It takes a lot of time. And is it worthwhile? My manager comes and tells me I need this in 24 hours. Where do I find time? I think most of this takes too much time has been answered by Shali in his tools. I think all of us did that tool session, right? So how to quickly do it is what we've already discussed. It's expensive. I won't argue with that. That's left to individuals in terms of what is expensive, losing a candidate or spending more time in finding more candidates. Candidates don't mind. Means they're used to it. Everywhere they go, they have to kind of face the same recruiter or same type of recruiter. They don't really mind. Right? Correct? You're saying yes. Scares me. Nobody does it. Like Harishchandra, I am not a saint or somebody who will basically try and do something extra. Nobody does it, so why should I do it? Now, let's talk a little about what we call collaborative communication. Just look at this slide. This is George Bernard Shaw's quote. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Okay, does it make sense? I have spoken to the dogs, man. They should have understood. Right? I am speaking in my language. They should be able to understand. They've been with me for a very long time. Right? This is another quote which basically talks about communication is not really about passing information. It's more about getting through. So here we are passing information. Whether we are getting through or not is not really clear. So let me just stop here and tell you a story. Okay? Now there was a man. He was man. Okay? He was coming back from a long trip, driving alone, eagerly waiting to go back home, had to go back to his wife. We called him up a couple of times already, where are you? So he said, I'm on my way on the road. So he's trying to reach home as fast as possible, puts on his music and knows that he'll reach in time. Suddenly, something happens. Some screeching sound happens and he realizes tires got burst. So now what does he do? He gets down, looks at it. All around there's darkness. Lights are also not there. Some poor road he must be traveling. So he then opens the car, tries to change the tire. He realizes it doesn't have a jack. Now no jack, bad tire, flat tire. What does he do? He needs help. Looks around. Far away, little further away, he sees a house with a car with some vehicle around. This guy will have a jack. So he's excited now. Now I will go and get a jack from him, and then I'll repair my tire. I'll basically change my tire and give it back to him. So he's excited. He said, okay, fine, my problem solved. So he starts walking, takes 2 or 3 steps, and suddenly he realizes the lights go off in that house which he was seeing. He realizes, oh gosh, this guy's going off to sleep. Now he'll get irritated if I call him up, if I go and ring the bell. Now what do I do? He says, no. He will realize. I mean, he's a sane man. He's like good guy. Possibly he realizes I'm stranded. So he should not. He will not really worry too much about me waking up. It's just about sleeping. So there is. So I think it will work. Not a problem. Takes a couple of steps again and goes ahead. Then he starts wondering, what if he has a kid? What if the kid is also sleeping? I'll ring the bell. He'll get annoyed. He'll get irritated. He'll possibly get angry with me, start abusing me. But what am I doing? I'm just asking for a jack. Why should he be irritated at me? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm stranded here like a poor soul, just going to ask for help. At the same time, his hand goes on the bell. He rings it. Suddenly the door opens, and he says, I don't want your stupid jack. Keep it with you. You have no right on screaming at me. The other guy was stunned. Bangs the door on him. So then this guy realizes, what have I done? Turns around, now he cannot even go and ring the bell again. So poor soul starts trudging back to his car and finally manages to find one more, changes the tire, goes back home, tells his wife the story. And then his wife has a good laugh at him. Then a couple of days go by, a couple of months go by, and then this guy again is in office. So the boss has given him some work. He has to finish it. He said, okay, I'll finish it by 6 o'clock, and then I'll go back. And he makes plans with his wife and kids that, okay, I'll take you out tonight. So all of them are prepared and ready. But his work doesn't get finished. So he has to keep on working. At the same time, he's thinking, he's getting calls from his wife. He's saying, okay, I'll come soon. Yeah, I'll be there. So he's been planning for that. The kids have been planning. Kids are all ready and everything, all set for waiting for the dad to come back home. The guy says that, okay, fine, now kids are going to get wild. Wife is going to be angry at me. She's going to be pissed off because since a long time I've been planning this. She's been planning this and I'm not going to turn up home. Then he says, no, I will be able to tell her that I had more work. If possible, ask her to call my boss, and then I think things will get sorted. Then he realizes, no, she's been asking for it a long time. Last time also I did the same thing. Now she's going to get even more irritated. She's going to shout at me. She's going to as if I don't have any work. She'll say, you're the only person working in life. So at the same time, he reaches home again. While he's thinking all through, wife opens the door. He starts saying, you don't tell me anything to me. I was late because I had work. It's not that I don't know you don't have work. Wife says, husband. He said, what? Do you want a jack? So all the while, when we communicate with the person. Whether the person is real or imaginary, we always communicate with the person. And most of the time, we make the person up for us. So if it's a candidate, I believe the candidate is not going to respond. So in my mind, I am preparing him not to respond. If in my mind I believe all candidates are job hoppers, all candidates are going to return offers, they only want money, my line of questioning as a recruiter, as a sourcer, or my way of contacting, if a candidate doesn't mind, I will believe he doesn't mind, keep on sending drab messages every time, keep on harassing him, and reinforce his fear all the time. Okay? So while we can keep imagining that the candidate is the way he is, or we start believing the candidate is a human being, this is one of the 6 to 7 jobs he's going to ever change in his life, and then start thinking, how do we communicate with him? Okay? Does this perspective help? Because if we are not clear on this, I don't think we'll be able to appreciate what's coming later. Does this make sense? Do you think we can treat the candidate as somebody who is actually looking for a good job, good career, and not just money? Okay, that's good to know. I'm sorry, I think I'm okay. We're going to talk about, when it comes to communication now, a 4-stage approach. First is plan, second is personalize, third is track, and fourth is close. For every set of communication, we're going to talk about these 4 steps. Okay? Now, these steps may look as if they are far, they're too big, too many steps in between. If you start doing it, you'll realize it's not that difficult to do all 4 of them if you plan to do it and know that if I do it, I will treat the candidate with respect. Okay? The first part of the step is planning. Whenever you get a job requirement, how many of y'all second minute go on and hit the portal? None? None? That's good. It's the first time I'm hearing a none. First time we go and hit the portal. Why? We know keywords, we know how to do mass mails, we know how to do mass SMSs, we know how to do big long searches, and then just start calling the candidate. Before that, I urge you guys to consider this. Understand the job. And if you're working for your own company, you will understand your company much better. Identify the USPs of your job and your company. What is your product? What are you trying to sell? Get that clarity first, and then you decide which are the sourcing channels you're going to go after, what is your sourcing pool, and then for each of those channels, we will try and personalize. So create upfront your communication templates. Okay, if it's a Twitter, what am I going to do? If it's a job advert, what am I going to do? If it's a short message, long message, so write it down and prepare them. It won't take you more than 3 hours to do all this. Parallelly, also think about a tracking and response mechanism. How am I going to track what am I sending, whom am I contacting, and if somebody contacts me back, how am I going to respond to them? If you are able to respond to them, you will maintain relationship. Okay? Now, these are few communications. I'll skip this slide because I guess all of us since morning have heard a lot about it. Just a little bit about, just to get the perspective that each channel has got a different space to play with. We've got emails where you have a lot of space, but please do not go beyond a page. Sorry. Then we've got job postings. Again, anything that we have to scroll too much is not really useful. WhatsApp, again, no limit, but try and keep it as short as you can. SMSs, we got 120 characters. Facebook status update has got lots of space on it. Twitter has got 140. LinkedIn group headline post has 200. Group posting body is 4,000. The company page status will have around 500 odd. Personal page status 700. Google will have a lot more. So this is the space you have to play around with. So whenever you're designing your templates or your communication tools, keep in mind what is the space that you have. I generally divide the templates into 2 parts. One is a long message, other is a short message. Then you've got job boards and phone calls. That is different. Then you've got job posting and phone calls, which is different. we talk a little about personalization. Each of these channels have got an inbuilt personalization expectation. Okay? LinkedIn, we try, the candidate is expecting us to be a little more professional. Facebook, possibly you know somebody else, I will connect with you. Twitter is Twitter. Okay? In general, now this is not the rule, this will fluctuate, okay? But in general, as your volume of candidates, I said initially while planning what we decided, we'll understand the volume of the candidates we have. If your volume of the candidates is high, your ability to personalize each message to a greater extent will reduce. But if your volume of candidate is low, you please treat them like gold, because once they finish, you will have nobody to hire. Okay? So generally, WhatsApp, personalized messages, dashboard calling would fall on the lower side, where the candidates are less, is where you would pay more attention on these channels. Then if the volume is high, then you will probably looking at mass SMSs, mass emails, public messages, job adverts, and portal phone calls. Okay? The logic is, if your volume of candidates is too high, time is less, you will not be left with a bigger option of personalizing to each individual. You will still personalize it to a pool, okay? But you will not be able to personalize it to an individual. But if it is low, please spend time. If it is 3 days, write a separate email to everybody, saying that I've seen your experience, read his CV and write an email or a message to that person specifically, knowing it's a one shot that you have it. Okay? Now, short messages is what we have. Let's say this is a graphic example. There's a snake charmer who is asking for help. A snake comes along. The typical challenge we have with short messages, where because we don't have enough space, we cannot be very specific, but we want to be catchy. Okay? So what we're going to talk, what I'm going to list down here is a few points you try including in your short messages, and you'll come with a neat short message. Okay? First is you need to announce the job. Okay? Second is you have to inform the skill that you are recruiting for. Third is give the location. Fourth is sell using adjectives. Now the adjectives could be large, multinational, big, challenging. So try and use adjectives in that one sentence that you are writing. Link for more information. Because you don't have enough space, you provide them link where more information is available. As Shali spoke about, a very good way of doing it is if you can have a particular page which you can link to, which has got your details also, that also helps. Okay? And lastly, be creative. Now, this was a Twitter ad. The Nigerian ad agency writers send their ideas to a writer. Now, the funniest Twitter response will get the job, no questions asked. Now this particular tweet actually gave a lot of responses to this, right? And this was actually published as one of the best Twitter ads that we've ever written. Okay? Now, whenever we are writing short messages, primarily on Facebook, Facebook does support hashtags nowadays. Twitter, you try and use hashtags, because when a candidate is searching for a job, the job adverts with the hashtags will come up first. We've already discussed what are hashtags before. Okay, so I'm not going to go into hashtags per se. So first is branding. Every company should have a Twitter handle. Should have a hashtag. For example, hash Accenture India is one of the ones that possibly they would be using. Announce job. Now to identify whether this is a job or not, there are certain hashtags which will help, basically if somebody searches for job, will come up higher in the search list. These primarily are job listing, jobs, job opening, job posting, hash careers, hash recruiting, hash hiring. Okay? If you want to identify which hashtag is suitable, there are sites available which Shali has already discussed in his previous presentation. Inform the skill. Try and use a hashtag for a skill, because there will always be one hashtag for a skill available, especially if it's a technical skill. Okay? Then give the location. So if somebody is searching for a job in Pune, so hashtag will help him to pick up using the announce job and the give location hashtag, he'll be able to pick that up. Then sell. We've already discussed, use great, wonderful, leading, MNC, growing. More information, you have got bit URLs or tiny URLs which you can use to provide more information. Okay? For long messages, please keep them short. So long is relatively long. Instead of one sentence, you write a couple of paragraphs. It doesn't mean you write a long essay. Nobody's going to read long messages. They will only read a few words here and there. Make good use of subject lines. The first thing that people are going to see in a long message is the first subject line. If you take that away, if that subject line is not available, if it's not catchy, he's not going to read the rest of the mail. Write about the company and the role. Use adjectives. We've talked about those adjectives before. Connect to the person. Now, when you're writing a job description, especially, not the skills, job description, try and write, instead of saying that has to search on job boards in terms of recruiters, or has to do passive search, say that you will have to do passive search, or he will have to do passive search. So try and personalize it by the language person. Keep messages clear and brief. The role and spec, don't tamper with it. I know we try and use beautiful language and words to kind of make it look better, but in the process, we can, in a way, let's say, deviate from what is expected. Be polite, even emails have tone. Otherwise, what happened with that poor soul is going to happen with us. Always proofread. Every email you write will have a mistake, or every message that you write, if it is long enough, will always have a mistake. So what we have to do is we'll have to find, we'll have to go through it once again. So do not just send after finishing. Always write. Always after writing, always go through it. Okay. Close with call to action phrases. For every message, in the end, always mention that, always mention reply or send your resume to, and leave your contact details. If possible, leave your tiny URL with your profile also. Okay? Now this is one message. I want you to just go through it and tell me whether it's a good or bad message. How many of you all think this is a good message? Okay, how many of you all think this is a bad message? 2 people saying bad message. Rest everybody feels this is a good message? No? Language is not clear. Swedish is one thing which I don't know how you call a website Swedish. That's okay. More than that, this guy has spoken about free job base as one of his projects which does not require Python. So he's selling a Python. So the recruiter believes that he is technically very strong. He doesn't know ABCD about Python. So do not think or believe that you guys have got better technical skills than the candidate. So do not try and send a mail where your technical incompetence, rather all of us are technically, even I don't know anything about Python. Does not reflect so poorly. And he's sending a direct message to him saying that I saw your projects. Out of these projects, I have liked these many, and I think because of this you're a great Python developer. But these projects don't require Python. Okay, so be careful when you confidently put such mails across. The language is not so bad. It's a little cocky, but such a message could work had he been correct. Okay, we'll talk about job adverts. This is my favorite on job adverts. We come to one job description also after this, where poor soul. Though this is my favorite character, but I still pity him doing that job. Okay. Job title and long message are not very different, but I'll still go through it. The job title should be attractive. It should always mention the location. It should sell the company. Try and talk through job description rather than copy pasting. What happens out of copy pasting is what we'll talk about also. Try and mention the salary range or salary, or at least give an indication around it. Requirements, be specific, don't tamper with them. Response options, leave with them. The call to actions have to be there. Okay? Can you click on this link? Yeah. Doesn't open? You double click, it should open. Okay, this is one ad from Facebook which primarily Saran, can you zoom that? I'm not sure how it will look. Now this is a job opening which is posted for let's say Jabong, but in the job description somebody copied and pasted Flipkart job description. So they've really mentioned that during awareness, let's say bring awareness for Flipkart brand and building the Flipkart brand. Now this is the one which quite hilarious actually. So this is what happens when you start copying pasting. Please get your JDs right. Okay? So let's move to phone communication. Now phones, generally in today's age where a network is not great at times, especially where we work, sometimes the network goes really bad. So this is something which is not, it cannot be that drastic where the communication gets misrepresented so badly, but communication does get misrepresented over the phone. So we have to be little careful in terms of how we deal with it. We're going to talk about a few tips about communication. Okay. Now before you call a candidate, now remember I believe that we've already done a phone call, we've already sent an email, the candidate has possibly not come back or possibly come back with some queries. Now we're trying to talk to the candidate. Okay. Or you just picked up the CV from Naukri and you're trying to speak to the candidate. So first understand what the candidate is doing, what is his experience, what are his skills, try and get your USPs right, know what you're going to tell him. So do some homework before you actually call the candidate. It won't take you more than 30 seconds. All of this can be done in that. Okay? Now, the first impression is the best impression is what people generally speak about. Now in a phone call, your first impression is your tone. Let's say if you pick up the phone and say, hi, this is Masood calling from Future Step. I wanted to talk to you about a job opening that's available with us. Would you be interested to spend some time with me? Oh, sorry, would you be interested in? So if you go with that tone, which lacks energy and persuasion, most of the times the candidate will not be interested in speaking to you. Okay? I have seen sources or recruiters for that matter calling up candidates, the candidate saying, no, I am not interested, but after a day somebody else calls the same candidate by mistake because they missed the tracker, the candidate is interested. The candidate hasn't changed. His expectations haven't changed, but the call has changed. Okay, and it's sad if this happens when if I'm on the consultant side, it hurts when it happens that we found a candidate, he said no to us, he's saying yes to the company. So we've lost, and at the end of the day, the guy, God forbid, gets closed, then the saucer is dead. So your tone is extremely important. There has to be energy in the tone. You should feel like talking to somebody. On the other side, if it's a candidate, he's getting one call from somebody he doesn't know about the job, so he needs to feel that he wants to talk to you. That's key. So the initial lines is when you introduce yourself. The first two lines is what's going to drive the entire rest of your conversation. In the first two lines, you have to be able to introduce yourself, saying that you are calling from so and so for so and so reason, and that basically for instance, and I have seen a lot of arguments will talk about availability. Also ask him whether he is available to talk now. I have a lot of trainers who told me there is no reason to ask, are you available to have a discussion right now? Why should we give that chance for the candidate to say no? But just imagine the candidate is calling you and you're talking to your boss. He's not going to pick your call tomorrow. Or just imagine he's in the middle of something and he cannot talk right now. So take his availability. I said, don't believe the candidate is just there to, is not interested in any job that comes his way. He's interested as long as he gets a better opportunity. Give him the benefit of doubt. Second is try and establish relationship between the job and the candidate skill. If you've not done your homework, you'll never be able to do that. If you've not seen the candidate CV, only seen the skill, Java, Struts, J2E hai. 5 years experience likhta hai skill mein. Guy is suitable. We have an opening so and so for Java Struts, 5 years of experience. Are you interested? So you might say, yes, send my CV across. But is that a good connect? Or you might say, no, I'm not. This is not what I do. So most of the times he'll say, oh, go ahead, send it. इसमें क्या होगा, जाऊँगा नहीं. I won't go for the interview. So establish relationship. When you are seriously establishing a relationship, I saw your CV, you've got these skills, I guess you've worked on these companies for these particular skills. I've got an opportunity which basically is going to give you an advantage working either upgrading your skill or going to a next level. I think this is a better career move for you. If you can sell that story, he will be with you. Even if he doesn't take this job, tomorrow he'll give you a reference. I can guarantee you that. Okay? If you have somebody in common, let's say look up the groups. If you have somebody in common, if he's a connection in LinkedIn to somebody or Facebook, or he's part of some group, or he knows a particular language, use that. If you know Tamil and he's a Tamilian, speak in Tamil. Works. So you may want to ask if he's okay speaking in that language, but I don't think anybody will have a problem to speaking in their mother tongue. Okay. Now, a lot of times, if we in a hurry to call so many candidates, say the candidate is interested, no, I'm not interested right now. Just keep the phone down. Spend another few seconds, ask the candidate that, okay, fine, you're not interested, why? Is it that you're happy there? Is the pay not good? What is the challenge? And then he will say that, okay, fine, I'm happy here, I'm this, but is there anybody in your team or somebody you know who can refer? So always ask for a referral opportunity, but not the second minute he says, I'm not interested. I am not interested, so can you give me a referral? ये नहीं दिया, वो तो दे दे. So it doesn't work. So try and establish some connect with him before you ask him to give you something. Now, info captured. So whenever you close a call, always close it with one, capturing all the information required, make sure, don't be in a hurry to close. He said yes, I want to close. बाद में नहीं बोल दिया तो. So what if he says no tomorrow? So what I'll do is I quickly close the call. Make sure you've got all the information, because you don't want to call him again for the same information, and tell him the next steps. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a JD, or I'm going to schedule an interview, or somebody's going to get in touch with him. Identify your next steps moment you close the call, and then close the call. Okay. Now this is a voice message sample. Again, I would like to know from you if you feel this is too bad, ugly, good, average. You guys can read it right from there. Name correctly. So it is not an anonymous person. You do not, so you leave your name, you tell him that, okay, if I am so and so, give him a title saying that I am so and so here at this company, so that he can identify you as somebody who is a person, and not somebody who is just trying to either play a prank at him, or either his bosses ask somebody to do something for him. So identify that, and then give him where you found him and why did you actually message him. I know this is different from Shali. Shali's method is different. He basically would say that do not give too much information in the first message or the first call. You need to speak to close. There are two schools of thought. I subscribe to this. So I find you on LinkedIn. If you have read something good about him, mention that, and then ask him that I've got a job in this company. Are you interested? Let me know. This again, before you close, leave a phone number. And if a good have a great day always helps. Okay. So few things that you have to remember, even when you're doing a voice message or a phone call, don't be anonymous. Point your basically identify yourself, identify the company calling from, identify the reason, and then leave an action point. Obviously, try and establish a relationship between the skill of the candidate and the job. Okay, but this you have to do in a very short span of time, so the message has to be shorter. Okay. Now these are common pitfalls, especially when you're trying to put HTML images in your trying to make it very jazzy. Your emails don't display correctly. That's the last thing you want to do. Always use text mails. They are the best mails to use. They don't look jazzy, but they're very effective as well as quite helpful. Grammar and spelling mistakes, the last thing that you want to do. One size fits all will not work. So mass SMSs, mass emails will not work in every situation. If you're doing a mass email or mass SMS, be prepared to lose candidates. So have enough candidates to lose if you're planning that approach. Technical screening by a recruiter, please don't do. We are really not technical guys to interview somebody technically. Lose track of candidates is the last thing that you want to do. Keep a track of them. And avoid jargon on English that sounds like jargon. Okay, for example, I've seen a lot of people using the word condone. Condone. A lot of guys who feel that they know a lot of condone is basically ignore. Ignore. So it's a jazzy way of writing it. So it sounds different. It can be looked differently. Anonymous, don't be anonymous. Now the last thing that we're going to talk about is how to measure the success of whether we've been good, bad, ugly. Okay. First, the prerequisites for any measurement is going to be that first we need to track. Second, we need to make sure that whatever we are tracking, we can draw an inference out of it. Okay. So if I'm just tracking every candidate, but I cannot end of the day collate it and make a report out of it, it doesn't make sense. Now there are different methods of doing it. Two methods what I'm going to talk about: conversion by stage, where how many candidates contacted, how many response received, how many submitted, how many offered. Second is by source, whether it is Naukri, job or Time Job, Monster, and so on and so forth. Now this is a live sample that we have taken. This was done for a requirement for one of our clients, where basically 100 odd candidates were contacted, out of which we had 11 L1 selects and one offer coming out of it. Okay, so out of 100 candidates contacted, we received 39 responses, out of which 15 were submitted to the client and one got offered. Okay, so there is a candidate tracker which which if you want to know how this is tracked in the backend, I am happy to discuss that. But right now, with the paucity of time, we won't be able to talk through the entire fields that we can put in. How do we go about tracking it? Okay, I think we're done with it. We'll end with a communication song and then we'll go for questions. Okay, so I hope we'll have some. So you'll have to click on that link. You've already streamed it, right?
I think it's a really good way to round this show out, to close it down.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay.
What do you think?
I think so.
Well, we're both going to be in it. We're both going to be in it. It's for both of us
Like
to
the
do.
minivan thing? The minivan thing?
Yeah, except for when it's your turn, I will point to you and you'll know your part. Okay? It'll be good. It'll be like fun and improv-y.
All right,
Let's do
so
like a
what-
communication song.
I like
Yeah.
this. You like this?
Yeah, this
All
will be
right,
fun.
So what am I going to do?
I'm going to point to you and you'll know your part.
Okay.
Just wait, hang tight,
All
and
right.
we'll get to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Communication song.
Yes.
Ironically, have never discussed it. But we're going to do it.
It's
Here
going to
we
be
go.
good. Okay. Why don't you listen?
Can I
This
just
is
stop?
between a husband
Yes.
and a wife.
Yeah.
Why don't you listen? That is a terrible way to start a song.
That wasn't very nice that you just said that.
I'm just saying, if I'm driving down the road and I hear why don't you listen, I'm changing the channel. I mean, every guy in here is like, that's going to end badly, you know? And
I don't think they were. I think they were just listening to the song.
my
All
hand,
right.
I got my hand to the pulse of
All right, I got it.
RMCC here.
I got it. Let me try again.
Okay.
One more time. Here we
Beautiful.
go. Okay. Why don't you listen?
All right, am I going to be in this?
Yes,
Well, I thought we
you're in
agreed
it.
to
It's
take
not
that
your-
out. I thought we agreed
We
like
didn't agree to
we
take
talked
it out.
about it.
No, I listened to what you had to say.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and did what I was going to do anyway.
That's a marriage.
Just let me finish the phrase. It'll make more sense when I get to the end.
Well, let me
okay?
just
And
go
then
on
it'll be-
record
Uh-huh.
as saying that we object to the why don't you listen part of the song.
Okay, objection
Okay.
noted.
Have at it.
One more time.
Have at it.
Why don't you listen? It makes it hard to tell you what to do.
What kind of song is this? It's very passive aggressive.
Really? No.
I just think it's very pretty, the music, but the words are kind of jabby.
Why don't you give in?
Yeah.
I won't give up till you do. Let's do this my way.
No choice.
I know in time you'll see I'm right. We shouldn't fight this fight again. 'Cause I'm gonna win.
I don't think I'm in this song.
I just need to hear you say it won't take long if you could lay aside your pride and admit your, help me ladies, wrong. Thank you.
How do you know the song?
They're married, honey. They all know this song.
That's really weird. I didn't know that. That's really...
Go ahead. It's your part.
Oh,
Go
my
ahead.
turn now. Okay, go ahead. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Rhymes with wrong. What's that? Is it a chicken? It's a bird.
I told you he'd know his part.
I am ready to pounce now.
You ready now? You ready? All right. You know the rules now. Can't go to sleep if there's a fight. And I've had my coffee. I'm prepared to stay up all night. until you admit I'm. Thanks for finishing that up for me, ladies.
You guys have been a fantastic audience. Thank you for coming out tonight. One more time for Amy Barnes. Can you give her a nice round of applause?
Good night, everybody.
Okay, guys, questions now. There are any? No questions? All wanting to go home? Take care. All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Syed.
Thank you.
With the end of this talk, we've come to the close of 2014 edition of Recruitment and Sourcing Summit. Thank you everybody for being here, and we hope you had a productive time at this conference. We look forward to your feedback and reading your blogs and tweets. Do not forget to tag them with hashtag RSS14. We have light snacks and coffee outside. Have a great weekend. Thank you.